Okay, you guys have done this before, but it is a little bit time consuming. That's the different things. We have mean, median, mode, and range.
It's easy. It's easy. It just takes so long.
All right, now it doesn't take too long, and there's only a few on the front, so we will work through it. We'll get there. You can get extra points for them. Oh, Jack, why'd you do that for, Jack? All right. So we'll get that picked up in a little bit. All right, I wasn't even supposed to bring those along. With these, ordering the numbers from least to greatest will always be our first step when doing the mean, median, and mode. That's what we always got to do. Put them in order. That'll make your life easier, especially for like 3 of these. Okay? Once you've done that, then you're ready to move on. So hopefully you can order numbers in order. Hopefully you know how to divide, because that'll be an important thing that we do today. And good job, Luke. All right, we're going to go to the next slide here. Learn to find the mean, median, mode, and range of a data set. Right? So when we have those ranges of data sets are like the first 2 problems. They gave you all those numbers. That's what it is. All right, so those are all the points that Luke scored during the first 9 games. All right, we got all those. We want to find his average. We want to find what his least points were, his most points, all those different things. All right. Things like the mean, median, mode, and a lot of other factors are used, especially with baseball and all those numbers that they put out there. All right, so you know what the mean is. Median. All right. Mode, range, outlier. We're covering all 5 of those today. Mean is the average. So you add all of them together and divide by how many? How many ever numbers there are. So if there's 7 numbers you add together, you divide by. If there's 15 numbers you add together, you divide by. If there's 3 numbers you add together, you divide by 3. All right. Median. Median is, kind of sounds like middle, doesn't it? Median is the middle number when you write them in numerical order, or little to big. All right. So if you have an odd number, you have 1 median. If you have an even number and you have 2, does anybody remember what you do for the 2? You're close. You take the average of them. So if you have 2, you add them and you take the average of them. Yep. All right. Mode is the one that appears the most. Good job. And range is biggest subtract the smallest. That biggest number minus the smallest number. These 3 should take you, after you order them, about maybe 2 minutes all together combined, and that's if you're working really slow. Mean will take you about 3 minutes on its own, okay? It shouldn't be that terrible long, but it is a chance to make a mistake. And an outlier, all right? So, we have the age of everybody in this room. What's your age, Grayson?
13.
Jack?
13.
Alexa?
12.
Ava? Caden? 12. So you guys are all around 12 or 13, right? My age of 37 is an outlier. It's way different than the rest of the group. You see that? Okay? It's like that Pinckneyville team, right? They got that one kid that weighs like 300 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
He's the outlier. The rest of their team's in like the 100s and below, or 150 and below, and he's like 300 pounds. He's the outlier, right?
Yeah.
All right? So, outlier is a group that is way outside of that. Or, my age would be that. But I have a question, all right? What if, let's say Grayson forgot to take his little stepsister?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, okay. Into preschool, but she came down here in the 7th grade room with her. Would her age be an outlier for this group? Yeah, because she's 3 or 4?
4.
4. So that'd be quite a bit different than the rest of your ages, right? So that you can have an outlier that's much smaller or an outlier that's much larger, okay? So you feel pretty good about those things? All right, then let's just practice a few of them. The mean is the sum of the data values divided by the number of the data items. Okay? The median is the middle value, an odd number of data items arranged in order. It's that middle one. For an even number, you take the average of them. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to write them in order. If there's 12 of them, I'm going to have to do an extra step. I'm going to have to take the 2 middle ones, right? And I'm going to have to average them, right? Do you know how to average things? Just like you do for the mean, right? Except there's only 2 of them that you're adding together, so you divide by 2. Does that make sense? Okay. Then, with the mode. Mode is the value or values that occur most often. So we have all the ages in here. If 13 appears 3 times and 12 appears 3 times, they both appear the same amount of times, they can both be the mode. Okay? Now, if 13 appears 3 times and 12 appears 4 times, is 13 a mode anymore? No. It did appear more than once, but 12 appeared the most, right? So it's the mode. So if 2 have the same amount of appearances, they can both be the mode. All right? What if all the numbers in here, what if you're all 13 and I'm 37? Would 37, all right, would there be, well, 13 would be the mode, obviously, right? What if there's 2 12s, 2 13s, 2 14s, 2 15s?
Then they're all the mode.
They're all the mode. Because there's all more than one, but they're all 2 times, so they're all the mode. Very good, very good. All right? Then the range is a set of data that is the difference between the greatest and the least values. So the range in here, the youngest age we had was 12. Is there anybody that was 11? And the oldest age was 37, so I take 37 minus 12. 25 is the range, because going from 12 to 37, there's a difference of 25 there, right? So the range is there. They'll look at the range a lot of times, especially when they're looking at maybe playoff series, all right? We looked at LeBron's scores. His range scores went from 14 in one game to 47 in another game, so he had a wide range. Would have been better if he was more consistent and stayed around 35 points every game or something like that. So they'll look at all these different things in a lot of different ways. So these data points and these ways to mess with data, you'll see them in a lot of different things. They're going to use these in farming, all right? What's our average consumption of the cows, okay? We've been putting out 150 pounds of feed every morning, and we got 75 cows, all right? Everybody's getting about 2 pounds of food, and we're always out of food, so that's good. We're pretty there. We don't have anybody that's hungry. We don't have any of those other things. Or you can look at, oh, we've been milking 47 cows, and we've been getting 193 gallons, so we can figure out about what the average gallon each cow is given, right? Right? So these things can be very helpful with different businesses, with different sports, with different things like that. Average or mean, don't you always have that with your batting average in baseball or softball? Okay, you've got that. Okay. Then, so when we do these, all right, the first thing we need to do always and forever, Caden, is we've got a number, set of numbers.
Oh, you line them up like least to
Least to greatest, all right. So we would have 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, all right, 7, 8. All right, so we do that. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now there's 8 numbers, right? Okay. So what's that? Do you remember doing this? All right. We did in 4th grade too, guys, right? So what do I do to find the mean, that average? What do I do, Ava? Add all of them up together and then by 8. Why 8, Ava?
Because that's one of the numbers right there.
Beautiful. So that's 7, 11, 15, and 15. That's 30 divided by 8. 30 divided by 8 is about 4 point something, okay? So that's how we get our mode, right? Our mean, right? Median. How do we get our median, our middle number there?
Well,
this
one isn't it the middle number?
You do something with, you like multiply.
There's an even number here. So there's no middle number. So we add 4 and 2 together and we get 6, but you forgot one step. What do you forget? How do you feel? All right, we find the average of those 2 middle numbers, all right, Emmett? So 2 and 4, we add them together, we divide by 2, and we get 3. Even though it doesn't appear in the group, that is our median. That's our middle number.
Wait, why did you divide by 2? You always divide by
If it has 2 numbers.
If there are an even number, there are 8 numbers, right? When we're doing the median, if there's an even number, there's no specific one middle number, right? These 2 are in the middle, so there's 3 on each side. So we average the 2 middle numbers. Now, if we would say, oh, there's no 8, then there definitely would be a middle number, right? Okay, if it's an odd number, you don't have to do that. If there's an even number, you do.
So how'd you get 3?
How did I get 3? So, I looked at the 2 middle numbers, I added them, and then I divided by 2. You just take the average of the 2 middle numbers. Do you see that? Yep, good. All right, sorry if I'm going too fast. the mode, which is the mode up here, Kerrigan. What? So it's what, Ava? 2 is the mode, because it's the one that appears most often, right? And then, to get the range, what do we do, Alexa? Ooh, the range. Help her out, Adam. Or Emma. Sorry. 8 subtract 1, so the range is 7, right? We're coming back. Remembering what they mean. If you can't remember what to do, it's maybe time to write them down. If you can, you're fine.
I think we could have.
No. Take the biggest number and subtract the smallest number. Okay. So mean. Add the values. We got 30. We divide by 8 because we added 8 values. 30 divided by 8 is 3.75. Okay? So that would be our average. The mean is 3.75. The median. Median, we put them in order like Caden did for us. Then we realize, oh, there's 2 because there's an even number. So we add those 2 and got 6. And then, since there were 2 of them, we divide by 2. The median is 3.
Does it say all 4 things?
What's that?
Does it say all 4 things?
Does what say all 4 things?
Median, range.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll only ask for specific.
Sometimes it'll ask for 1 or 2. Sometimes it'll ask for all 4. So you just gotta read the instruction with each one. Alright. Is there a back? There's just 3 problems on the back. From yesterday's
Can we
lesson.
get the worksheet?
Alright. Find the mode. Alright. The mode is the one that appears the most, so we wrote them all in order. Ava picked out 2 as the mode because it appeared the most. 4 appears more than once, but does it appear the most? No. So it doesn't get counted. Alright, it's like that second place. They don't get remembered. Alright, and then the range. We put them in order, and we take the biggest number, and we subtract the smallest number.
I think I read it.
Yeah, because the people that read it get
Yeah.
What's that, Kaden?
I remember.
Yeah.
I
Good.
remember.
Now, the other thing we gotta do is we gotta do it with that. So, let's go through this real quickly. How many numbers are there up here? 8. So, when we do the mean, we add them together and we divide by mean. So, mean, add them together, divide by 8, and we get, okay, our 4.25. With our median. It's an even number, so what do we have to do the special this time? Austin? Alright, so we arrange them. We're looking at 4 and 5.
3.5.
Not 3.5.
Oh, wait, no. I was looking at the ones that weren't in number.
Oh, you didn't do it in order? Okay. So we got those 2, so not 3.5, Grayson, but what's that? 4.5. Alright, because if we add them together, that's 9, divided by 2 is 4.5. Or a trick that some of you will start to recognize maybe now. 4 and 5. What's halfway between 4 and 5?
4.5.
4.5. Because if I add them together and divide by 2, I'm going to be halfway between them, right?
I noticed that on the last problem.
Okay, I don't
Good.
need the worksheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready. You can
We're going to get to the outliers then. I'll skip after this one. Okay? Mode. So when we do the mode, we put them in order. What is the mode then? Luke? 5, because it appears the... Very good. Alright, very good. And then when we do the range, we arrange them. What do we do there? Emmett? Not divide, it was
8 minus
subtract. So, 8 minus 1 is 7. Jack, you yammering on is not going to get us done any faster, bud. Alright?
I said wrong. I knew it.
You knew what to do. Alright, very good. And we get 7 then. Alright? So now, the line plot shows the numbers. So now they're going to give you stuff like this and put it out. Oh, put stuff out here like this. Oh, you get this. This is the times that they finished in the cross country meets. You're going to have to figure out, oh, there were 5 4s. There were 3 5s. There were 2 6s. Alright? There was 1 14. There was 4 15s. And there were 2 16s. So you're going to have to figure out, oh, we're adding all these numbers together, right? And which measure of central tendency best describes this data? Okay? So, if we have these 17 members of the cross-country team, all right, And this is the number of miles they ran. Are we going to want to do average? Are we going to want to do mean? Or excuse me, mean? Are we going to want to do median? Are we going to do mode? What are we going to want to do?
Well, what measure of central is depending?
So the four things we've been doing, mean, median, mode, and at range, are the measures of central tendency. So which one of those four would best describe these times? Should we use the mean, where we get an average? Should we use the median, where we take the middle numbers? Or should we use the mode, the one that appears the most? He's saying median, all right? Now they're going to ask you to justify your answer. Do you have a reason why you picked the median?
Because it would be like the middle number.
It would be like the middle number? Okay, I could see that kind of making sense. Try to find that middle ground between 6 and 14, all right?
I'm gonna say no.
She's going to say mode, the one that appears the most. All right, so about 4 minutes there. Okay.
Oh yeah, I thought it was
All right, mode, they're saying. What do you think?
I was gonna say there's a lot of 15.
Okay. Okay. So let's look at them. So we saw how many, there were a lot of people on the short end of the miles and there were a lot of people on the long end, right? Those really dedicated and those not so dedicated. So as we look at this, there were 17 numbers. We added them all together. The mean was about 9. Is that about the middle of them? Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm thinking mean might be a pretty good one because it kind of shows the average or the middle of all those different things, right? Okay, so the mean is 9. The mean best describes the data because the data is clustered fairly evenly. We had quite a few on the low end, but we had quite a few on the high end, right? So finding the mean was there. The median, why that wouldn't be good, is when we do the median, which is the middle number. All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh. Is 6 really the average? Well, it doesn't really explain it. It talks about the low end, but it doesn't really talk about the high end. You see it's not a middle split there? And then the mode, well, the mode would be 4. 4 isn't really explaining it because we have all those of the higher ones. So in this situation, they're kind of evenly distributed. Mean would be the best. So this is where you got to think about it. Yes, doing the rote, oh my gosh, I did the work. Fine. Being able to explain which one would be best is there. Not just putting an answer. I think median because give me an explanation. All right, when we do the median, all right, they list them in order 6. That median does not best describe the set because many values are not clustered around 6. There were a decent amount around 6, but there were a lot that are away from 6, right? 9 was kind of right in the middle of them all. Okay. Mode was 4. All right. Well, the mode is 4. That is really not close to anything. It describes that lowest end. So now we got another situation we're coming up to. This line plot shows the number of dollars each of the 10 members of the cheerleading team raised in a week. All right. So the cheerleaders raised money. All right. There were 10 members. All right, here's what they raised. All right, so we had some that raised 15, some that raised 20, one that raised 40, we got some that raised 60, one that raised 70. Mean, median, mode. Which one might be the best? What are you thinking, Grayson?
Mode.
He's thinking mode. So the one that appeared the most, so the 15, might be a good one, he's thinking. Okay. Is that kind of representative of everybody? All right. What about median? Anybody think median then? The middle one. You think the middle one there? All right. As we list them, we got 5, we got 4. So it'd be around 20. Okay, the median would be around 20. And then the mean, we can figure out what the mean would be, right? We'd add 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers together and we divide by 10, right? Okay. So the mean, we add them all together, we divide by 10. $33. Thinking back. Was that kind of in the middle of everything? Okay.
Is it going to be mean every time?
No. The mean is 33. Most of the cheerleaders raised less than 33, so the mean does not really describe the data set best. Because most of them were on that low end, right? You had a few that did really well and did a lot of extra. But mean is not really the best answer because it's in the middle, but they're not spread out evenly. We had more on the low end and fewer on the high end. Okay? So mean wasn't a good one there. When we look at the median, like Evan said, 20 is the median. The median best describes the data set because it's closest to the amount most raised by cheerleaders. 6 of the 10 what did they do? They rounded up, they won, they got a...
They had money donated.
Yeah, they got money donated in either $15 or $20 increments, right? So most of them were there, so they said the median was the best because that's where the cluster, that's where the group is. Mode, the greatest number of X's occurred above the 15 on the line, so 15 is the mode. The mode focuses on one data value and does not describe the whole set. So if you're looking for most points scored by players this NBA season, that's when you want the mode, when it's focusing on one data set, but not when it's looking to describe everything. So median and mean if they're kind of evenly spread out. Median is good if you got one end that's got more and one end that's got less. That's a good way to do it. And mode if you're focusing on one data point. All right? So, most useful when? The mean, data are spread fairly evenly, like I said. So that first one, they were kind of spread out evenly, weren't they? Ages in here, they're spread out pretty evenly if you leave me out of the group, right? So that would be a good time to use the mean, right? Median, the data set has an outlier. Hold it, let's add Mr. Palm to the group. We're going to add all your ages in here, then we're going to add 37. So instead of dividing by 3, 6, 9, 12, we're going to divide by 13, but we had that 37 in there. What's that going to do to your class average? Man, the class average in their 7th grade is like 14. Well, it shouldn't be, but because of my big outlier, do you see how that changes the average and makes it go up? Man, they're going to think you guys dumb because a bunch of 14-year-olds at the average age is 14. Do you see how the outlier can change that? So with that outlier here, wouldn't it make more sense to do the median? Because there's 137, there's a bunch of 13s and a bunch of 12s. So we'd land in that 13 or 12 area, right? And that'd be a lot closer to what we need. In the mode, the data involves a subject in which many data points of one value are important, such as election results. Yes, sir? Not raising your hand, all right. Well, you are raising your hand if that's not your intent. So, now the next thing. Is there an outlier in this group?
No.
Yeah.
Yes,
12.
12. Why is 12 the outlier, Eva?
It's really little.
It's quite different from the rest, right? In the data set below, the value is 12. It's much less than the other values in the set. An extreme value such as this is called an outlier. So, notice when we put them on the chart here, where the rest land and how this one is so far away from it. You guys could see that without the line, but they put it in there for you. Now, the data shows Sarah's scores for the last 5 math tests. All right? She had an 88, a 90, a 55, a 94, and an 89.
55.
All right. Identify the outlier in the set. Jack already said it, 55. Then determine how the outlier affects the mean, median, and mode of the data. Then tell which measure of central tendency best describes. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find mean, median, and mode with the 55, and then you're going to take the 55, which is an outlier, out, and find mean, median, and mode without the 55.
What do we gotta do now? It's so like,
You're going to compare with the outlier and without the outlier. What is that 55 going to do to the mean, that average? The 55 is down. So, all right, but there's only like 2 that you have to do. Okay, so we find those things. The mean is going to be greatly affected because it's going to drop it down by quite a bit because that one bad test is going to bring your grade down, right? What about the median, where that's the middle tendency? If we put them in numerical order, is it going to change it a lot? No. It's going to go from being 89 to 89 and 90 and be 89.5. Do you see how it doesn't change very much? And then the mode, is it going to have any effect, or is there even a mode up here? There isn't one. So When we find these, with the outlier, yes, is 55. So with the outlier, we do the data, we get, okay, the mean was 83.2. That one grade dropped it down a lot. Median, 89 is that. Okay? Mode, there is no mode like you guys said. So the median, would that probably better represent like her average tests? Or would the 83 probably better represent her average test? The median, right? Because normally she scores in the high 80s, 90s, right? That 55 did drop that quite a bit, didn't it? Now let's look at it without the outlier. So we're doing it with 4 numbers. 361, wow, the average is much higher, right? By like 8 points, or 7. All right, the median, it goes to 89.5, right? And then the mode, well, there still is no mode. So the question earlier was, since all the data values occur the same number of times, the set has no mode. You guys knew that. We look at it in the chart. Which one would probably be the best to explain the average test scores for this lady? The median, right? So that didn't take long to do that, especially when there's only 5 numbers, right? So you just had to find 3 things on each side. Okay? Adding the outlier decreased the mean by 7.05 and the median by 0.5. So the median would be the one that we would want to use because it changed the least. So the best describer of the data is the median. Okay? The outlier, is there one here?
No, or kind of 42.
42 kind of is one, right? But you could do the same type of thing with this, couldn't you? With and without, and then which one best describes it? Okay? And it kind of already told you, when there's an outlier, it's most likely going to be the median that describes that. Let's get your stuff so you can get working. At quarter till, so that's 20 minutes of working in, we're going to talk about science, and then you'll have more work time till the end of the time.
What are we doing for science?
We're doing a video review for chapter 8. And then, chapter 8, lesson 2, or lesson 1. I'll make sure you
So there's a worksheet too.
For what?
Science.
Video review.
Those aren't that bad.
Those are terrible. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I make you watch a YouTube video and then write about it.
That's
Write briefly about it. The last video review? Or the last? Alright. Okay, so online people, we're going to stop our recording right now, and 2 of you I'm going to work with